What's going on, everybody? Victor here with a brand new video, and I want to talk about a marquee matchup that's going to take place in the UFC middleweight division in the beautiful city of Paris, France, the city of light, the UFC's first trip to the country of France, also the first trip to the city of Paris, and I'm talking about a very important middleweight matchup that really doesn't mean much for either guy, and the reason why I say that is because both these individuals have faced the current champion right now in the middleweight division twice. Both of them have also lost twice. So whoever wins this fight is most likely not going to get the next title shot at the champion. And they're most likely going to have to wait until he either loses that belt to someone else or moves up in weight. Now, these two marquee individuals in the middleweight division I'm going to talk about right now, who are going to face off against each other this September 3rd, by the way, happens to be Marvin Vettori, the third-ranked UFC middleweight in the world, versus the number one UFC middleweight in the world, Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Now, this obviously is a very important matchup for both these individuals, even though nothing is on the line. The only thing that's on the line is that if one of these two individuals can be able to manage up a win against one another, that means that they don't only stay within the top 5 of the division, but they can also lay a stake for a next title shot if Israel Adesanya happens to lose to Jared Cannonier, which is going to be a fight that's going to take place this summer. Now, the reason why I like this fight the most is because Robert Whittaker has 9 knockouts in his record in his whole entire career, and Marvin Vettori's got 9 submissions. Now, with this information, it can basically tell us and lead us to the fact that this is going to be a fight that can possibly go to the floor or just stay up on the feet the whole entire time for the full 5. Actually, no. This isn't going to be a 5-round fight. This actually is going to be a 3-round fight. I believe this is going to be the co-main event, the Cyril Gane versus Tai Tuivasa, that's also going to be taking place in Paris, France this September, which means that both these individuals are definitely going to have a lot of energy to work with throughout these 3 rounds. And they're going to be on all systems go. There's going to be no energy conservation. These guys aren't going to be saving anything at all because they know they have limited time to work with, which is what I like a lot, especially with Robert Whittaker. I feel that during his last couple of fights in the past, he's really been able to benefit off of the 3 rounds. He's been able to perform at his best during the 3 rounds, and he doesn't have to worry about any added stress. Now, Marvin Vettori is the type of individual that doesn't really care about how many rounds he's going to be fighting in, where the place is that he's going to be fighting in, the venue, the crowd number, etc. He just wants to fight. He's just a fighter's fighter. He will fight you anytime, any place, anywhere, and he's basically said that to multiple people over and over and over again. And you could also say during this fight that there's about an 80-90% chance, all the way to 100%, that this fight is going to go the full distance. There's really not that much evidence going on for both these individuals to go in there and finish each other off, because Robert Whittaker is extremely hard to finish, and Marvin Vettori is also extremely hard to finish as well. If you did not tell from his last fight with Paulo Costa, and the majority of the shots that Marvin Vettori took, which just happened to be from a 205-plus pound Paulo Costa. That fight did not take place that middleweight because Paulo Costa missed weight by 15 to 20 pounds or something crazy like that. They moved the fight to light heavyweight, and Marvin Vettori still won, even though the favors were in Paulo Costa's odds. He came in there the bigger man, he came in there the stronger man, and Marvin Vettori just walked him down the whole entire time and took his best shots. And those were some extremely heavy shots that Marvin Vettori was enduring throughout that fight. So if he was able to endure that, all those different barrage of punches and the hooks to the face and the knees and the kicks that Paulo Costa threw at him at light heavyweight, then I believe that he'll definitely be able to hang in there for 3 rounds against Robert Whittaker. But Robert Whittaker isn't the type of individual to back off, and he's not the type of individual to lay his foot slowly off the gas pedal. He's definitely going to be all systems go. Marvin's going to be all systems go. And these guys are going to be swinging extremely heavy at one another. But there's also the possibility that this can be a chess match. This could also play out the same way that when Robert ended up facing Darren Till a couple years ago and it ended up being a good chess match. And this fight took place in Abu Dhabi. It was one of those fights on Fight Island, one of the main events that a lot of people were really looking forward to watching. And even though there wasn't that much action going on, it was a chess match. Both these guys were in each other's head, trying to predict each and every single move that one of them was going to make, and it was just an extremely technical performance from both these guys. And I believe that the same can possibly happen. This fight can either go two ways. It can be a fight of the year contender, or one of the most technical fights that you'll see this year in the UFC. Now, even though Marvin likes to wrestle a lot, and he likes to get his submission wins, Robert Whittaker is also pretty well known for wrestling. He's been able to take down his opponents before in the past. He's been able to defend the takedowns, especially from Yoel Romero, that he's fought in 2 times in the past. And as we all know, Yoel Romero is an Olympic medalist in wrestling. And he was able to take Robert Whittaker a couple of times in their first fight, but Robert Whittaker did an amazing job the second time defending the takedowns, even though he did get taken down a couple of times, and it was a really close matchup. But nonetheless, Robert Whittaker has some great takedown defense. So there's just a great possibility, and the possibilities are sky high, that this fight is going to take place on the feet the majority of the time. Expect there to be a good amount of clinching. Expect there to be a lot of movement. Expect there to be a lot of cutting of the angles, and just expect action the majority of the time. Expect action the majority of the time, because that's what these fighters live for, and both these fighters want to be in there, in and out as fast as possible. But like I said, I can't really give out too many keys to victory, because this fight's going to be very close in my opinion. Both these individuals are in the top 5 for a reason. Robert Whittaker being the #1 contender, and also Marvin Vettori being the 3rd ranked middleweight in the world. It's a top 5 matchup that a lot of people have been wanting to see for a while now. This fight was supposed to go down a little while ago, but because of unforeseen circumstances, it wasn't able to happen because of a personal injury that happened in Robert Whittaker's camp. But nonetheless, this fight is finally going to go down. It's going to go down in Europe. And there's one thing I like about both these fighters, that they're international fighters. Robert Whittaker comes from Australia. Marvin Vettori comes from Italy. So for Marvin, this is going to be a close fight to home. Expect there to be a good amount of fans for Marvin in there, because France and Italy are somewhat close to one another in the continent of Europe. So definitely expect there to be a good amount of Italian fans for Marvin Vettori, his family, his friends from back home, you name it. I don't know how many Australians are going to be in France, but expect there to be a lot of people in there rooting for Marvin Vettori, and a good amount also for Robert Whittaker, because we're all Robert Whittaker fans at the end of the day. But let's just remember, both these individuals are really strong. Both these individuals have the capability to finish off one another. But I believe that both these men are going to be cautious the whole entire time. They're going to try to play that chess game, like I said, with Robert and Darren and what they did in the past. And that this fight is going to go to a decision. And I'm going to say it's going to go to a split decision. And I'm going to give it to Robert Whittaker, because Robert Whittaker's the man. He's the 2nd best middleweight in the whole entire world in any promotion there is. I know there's a lot of great other promotions out there. You got Bellator, you got the PFL, you got Risen, you got One Championship, and they got great middleweights all over the world. But Robert Whittaker is a special athlete. Israel Adesanya is a special athlete. Both those individuals are 2 of the best middleweights in the whole entire world. The only problem that Robert Whittaker has is that he doesn't have the success yet. He doesn't have the secret recipe, the answer to beating Israel Adesanya. And the only way they can really get back to the championship is if Israel Adesanya loses it to Jared Cannonier. Not once, but twice, because if that were to happen, then Jared would have to end up facing Israel Adesanya in a rematch again. So he'd have to end up beating Izzy twice just to face Robert Whittaker for the 2nd time, because those two have already faced each other in the past. That fight also took place in Abu Dhabi as well. So a lot of history going on within one another in the UFC middleweight division. The majority of these fighters are well known, and they all know each other because the majority of them have already faced off against one another. So this fight with Marvin and Robert Whittaker, whoever wins isn't going to get a title shot as long as Izzy's still there. But if Cannonier wins, then whoever wins this fight is going to be the number 1 contender. So I hope you guys enjoy this fight. It's going to be an interesting one. I don't see there being a lot of wrestling. I do see there being some grappling on the feet, most likely against the cage, with some body locks and just working some dirty boxing in there, some knees to the midsection, and some breakaway elbows off the clinch back into the middle, and so somewhat so forth. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight. It's going to be a really good one. I can't wait till it happens. September 3rd, 2022. First time UFC is going to London. Not London, but the UFC is going back to London now. But Paris, France, the country, France, the French contingency, cannot wait for this fight, and I can't either. It's going to be a great one. Take it easy, guys. Stay blessed. Most importantly, stay safe, and see you guys soon. Later.